all eyes on the screen as we introduce our next speaker to you and what he brings to the table for us.
Welcome to the next presentation. Climate change is increasingly shaping raw cashew production across West and East Africa. Shifting rainfall patterns, prolonged dry spells, and rising temperatures are influencing yields, crop cycles, and long-term supply reliability. This session explores how these climatic changes are impacting raw cashew production and what they mean for the global cashew value chain. Presenting this session is Dr. Peter Masawe, International Cashew Value Chain Specialist and Freelance Consultant. Please welcome Dr. Peter Masawe.
Thank you very much for the organizers for giving me an invitation to attend this very important meeting. I'm going to present climate change and its impact on raw cashew nut production in West and Eastern Africa. Before I start looking at those effects, let us learn a little bit about cashew. I normally called a green gold. Cashew is known to be drought tolerant. Why? Because it has an extensive root system which can grow twice the size of its canopy, which allows it to capitalize on the moisture on the soil. Again, cashew is green throughout the year, and depending on the varieties, dwarf or common types, the height can range between 6 for dwarf varieties and 18 meters and beyond by height for the common cashews. The canopy diameter also varies. It can be 4 meters. It can go as high as 12 meters and even beyond for the common types. Cashew do not like clay soil. What's important is cashew normally produce on the periphery of the canopy. On the periphery of the canopy, which means cashew at the age of 10 does not produce on the top. For that reason, it should be known that any form of pruning is reduction in yield. But why do we prune? We prune for small-scale farmers to allow nuts to be collected underneath the tree. Or for the large-scale farmers, we prune to allow machinery operations like tractor to plow or supply of another thing in the field. Otherwise, do not prune your trees at all. Cashew does not tolerate shading, so don't think of intercropping other trees which are bigger than cashew in the field. Also, cashew is highly susceptible to strong winds. It can easily break. The whole canopy can collapse once the wind is very strong. And also, cashew is highly susceptible to bushfire, particularly during the fruiting, because the nuts have CNSL, which can explode like a petrol if it is caught with fire. Then let us look at the economic importance of cashew, which most of you knows. It is an export industrial crop, which generates a lot of foreign exchange earnings, the major cashew producing countries. It also creates quite a number of employments in rural and urban areas, particularly in the cashew producing countries, and is a reliable source of revenue for the governments in terms of the exports, factories, warehouses, transport which covers air, land and marine, insurances, utilities, banks, salaries, and many others. It is an ideal crop for climate change mitigation. Then, what are the major factors affecting cashew yields? There are two. Diseases is number one. Number two, insect pests. Let me elaborate. What are the major diseases of cashew? In East Africa, the main disease is powdery mildew disease. In West Africa, it has of recent also started affecting cashew. But powdery mildew can wipe the crop to almost 80%. The second one is leaf and night blight disease. The third one is anthracnose, and the last one among the major diseases is fusarium wilt. For when you look at these pictures, it will tell you the story. If the tree is free from the disease, this will be the color of the flashes, the young nuts, and the mature nuts. Let us look at when the powdery mildew affects the tree. All the young flashes, all the flowering panicles are destroyed. For resistant varieties, you will get a little bit of some nuts with a very, very poor quality as it can be seen. The second one is cashew leaf and nut blight disease. This disease, if it does not rain during fruiting season, it will never come. You'll never see it. But if it rains, within 10 days, it would have wiped up the crop completely. All young nuts within 10 days will fall, and you get completely nothing. But if you have resistant varieties, exactly, you will find some few of them with the scars and the quality of the nuts also will be deteriorated. The other disease is anthracnose, like leaf and night blight disease. If it does not rain, anthracnose will not come. If it rains, particularly during the harvesting season, the nuts will hang on the tree. They will never come down. You keep on looking at your nuts, but you can never get them. Let us look at the major cashew pests. The most common cashew pest is known as the Helopeltis species. It affects the young growing tips during flushing. It can also affect the inflorescence, which means you have no crop at all. The other major diseases, pest is the coconut bug for East Africa and the aeroplane bug for East Africa. Both of them will have a cause. They affect the young nuts, giving them a scar, and also processors, they know the kernels will also have the same mark, the one you can see here. We have also the mealybugs. Mealybugs are not really they are not severely affecting cashew because they don't always come. They normally come as an outbreak, and it can affect only a small number of the trees in the farm. It can never cover the whole farm. Now, let us come to the subject, the effect of unseasonal rains on yield and nut quality. Cashew, as I mentioned, does not need rain from flushing, flowering, to harvesting. Rains cause flower abortion. Rain disrupts pollination. Rains will lead into the outbreak of the diseases which I mentioned, leaf and nut blight disease, anthracnose, and the quality of the nuts will deteriorate. As you can see these two pictures, nuts, good nut quality will be like the one on the left-hand side, and the poor nut quality because of the diseases and the other infections as they can appear there. These ones, we call them standard grade, the other ones are undergrade. And this one also, you can never store it for a longer period because they always decay or rot inside. Okay, let us look at the insufficient rain and the prolonged drought. Prolonged drought may cause yellowing of the leaves and also initiate flower abortion. It also encourages outbreak of the pest during flushing and flowering. Why? Because in the farm or in the bush, all annual crops would have dried. And the only green and succulent part of the plant are the cashew flowers, flashing, and the cashew flowers. And that's where all the other pests will move into it. It also affects the size of the nuts. Normally, cashew has 2 peaks of fruiting. The first crop, which is usually the higher one, and the second crop. So the first crop will have smaller nuts, even if it is a variety with big nuts, but insufficient rain can cause them to have the small nuts. On the other hand, the second crop can be missed completely. Let us look at the effect of high temperatures. The scorching sun normally causes farmers, after harvesting immediately, instead of drying, they quickly put their products into the store without drying it properly. In West Africa, we usually dry nuts under a shade because of the scorching sun. In East Africa, we normally dry our nuts directly on the sun for 3 days. So, scorching sun dries the nuts on one side, and if there is no frequent rotating, it means it will only dry on one side. During storage also, it can start process of decaying. Scorching sun also can reduce the moisture content of the raw cashew nuts to 5% and even below, which means the farmers are losing crop. The ideal moisture content for marketing will be between 8 and 10%. Okay, what are the climate change mitigation? First of all, research have proved beyond reasonable doubt that use of foliar fertilizer to enhance fruit setting can be one of the solutions. But introduction of the bees keeping also maximize pollination. Intercropping with the annual crops or plowing between the cashew trees will enable more moisture during the rains to be available in the soil for the cashew nuts for the whole coming year. Secondly, also, training on post-harvest handling of the raw cashew nuts. As I mentioned, we have to train the farmers to know what is an ideal moisture content without using the measurement. Normally, when you spread the raw cashew nuts by hand, it will give you a rattling sound, which means the rattling sound tells you it is okay, it is 20% moisture and below. You don't need even a moisture meter to make it. So if you train farmers, they will know it. If it doesn't make a rattling sound, it means the moisture content is above 10. But more importantly, whether we like it or not, we must implement planting varieties resistant to diseases and insect pests. So what will happen to the mature cashew trees which already exist in the field? Do we uproot them? The answer is no. Do we replace them? The answer is no. What do? We do top working. Top working doesn't matter the age of the tree. Top working, after 1 year, you will see the second photo. You get a reasonable canopy. But the third year, you'll almost have almost 50% of the canopy. And if the variety you have put on top of that is a high yielding, it means you have changed your farm from low productivity to a higher productivity. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Any questions for Professor Masawe? Yes, sir, we are sending a mic.
Sir, on your last slide, you showed us that top working increases the susceptibility to diseases. For how long? Throughout the tree's life or for a year or two?
Basically, there are varieties which are resistant to pests and also resistant to diseases. So if you are going to top work with a variety which is resistant to disease, it means you are going to have less disease infection in your top work trees.
A round of applause for Professor Masawe.